Hello students, my name is Alvin and today we'll be learning types of numbers. Alright, now for IGCSE, you just need to know these 6 types of numbers, alright? So you need to know what is whole numbers, integers, decimals, fractions, mixed numbers, and finally what is prime numbers, okay? Now, I am just going to write a few examples over here. Whole numbers are basically like a beautiful number. You don't have a decimal point. What do I mean? Now, example, it can be like 3. Up to you. It can be like 7, 51, or even 100,000. So let's write 100,000. Alright. Now, then you may be asking what are integers. Integers are very similar to whole numbers. In fact, many students confuse between these two. So I'm going to write similarly 7, 51, even 100,000 are integers, okay? So what is the real difference between whole numbers and integers? Whole number cannot have the negative side of the numbers, but integers actually include the negative side. So I'm going to write -1. It can be like -10. Any negative number. Just don't put the decimal, alright? Now, if you look at the third example, decimals, the third kind of numbers, you must have the decimal point, alright? So what do I mean? 3.2, alright? 5.63. Any decimal number are called decimals. So it can also be like 0.25, alright? Or even 0.0003. As long as you have the decimal point, then they are called decimals, alright? So the next kind of numbers are actually called fractions. So fractions is like 2/3, okay? You can have like 7/3, alright? Later I'll show you this kind, different kind of fractions, but they are all fractions anyway. So you can have like 3/5, alright? These are all called fractions. Now, what is the next type of numbers, mixed numbers? It's similarly like fraction, but they are called mixed numbers actually. So 1/2/3. Example. Now I'll give you one more example, like 2/4/7. So these are all mixed numbers. Now the last one is prime number. So prime numbers are actually numbers that divide by 1 and also itself only. So there's actually 2 conditions here. The first prime number that you need to memorize is actually 2, because 2 can divide by 1 and 2, which is itself. Now the next prime number is actually 3. So 3 can divide by 3 and itself, right? Which is 1 and 3 lah, right? So the next prime number is 5. Next one, 7. Now, if you notice that I didn't write the whole of like even numbers, okay, except for 2. I didn't write 4, I didn't write 6, and I didn't write 8. Because those numbers you can divide by 2. So basically, even numbers, you don't have to write. They are not prime numbers. Alright, now think about the next number, which is 9. Alright, is 9 a prime number? Very simple. 9 can be divided by 3. Alright, so you know they are not dividing by 1 and 9 only. So if you have more than few factors that you can divide by a few numbers, then you know they are not prime numbers. So the next prime number is actually 11, followed by 13, followed by 17, 19, and I think you know the drill, right? So these are actually called prime numbers. You can divide by 1 and the number itself only. Right, let's look at example 2. Now example 2 is types of fractions. Now let's go through the basic first. When you have a fraction, for example 3/7, you will notice that the top part will have a number and we call that number numerator, alright, numerator. And the bottom number we call it denominator, alright. This 7 over here is what we call denominator. Now, you have to know the types of fractions over here. So let's go through the example. Number 1, we have 4/5. So when you see the top number smaller than the bottom number, so which is like 4 is smaller than 5, okay? The top smaller than the bottom number. This is what we call as proper fraction. Right? Proper fraction. Let's go through the second example, 7/4. If you focus on the top number, 7, which is the numerator, bigger than the bottom number, so right? So 7 is bigger than the bottom number, 4. Then this is what we call as improper fraction, right? So this is improper fraction. Right, let's go through number 3. So you have 2/3. Now, focus again. 2 is smaller than the bottom number 3. So this one is what we call proper fractional, right? So this is proper fraction. Right, let's go through the last. Alright, now let's focus on the fourth example over here, right? 21 over 8. Now let's focus on the top number one more time. 21 is bigger than the bottom number 8, alright? Now this is what we call as improper fraction again, no? Right? So this is improper fraction. Alright. So after you're done with the types of fraction, you need to know the type of decimals, alright? So this is example 3. Now, I want you to prepare a calculator with you and try this out, alright? So the calculator that I'm using is this model over here. Okay, so let's type 1 over 2. Alright, you should be getting 0.5 shown on your screen. So this is 0.5. Alright, make sure you know how to convert the fraction into decimal first. Now, I'm going to try one more time, number 2. So 1 over 3. Now, what is shown on your screen should be 0.33333 repeatedly, right? Okay, now, if you notice the difference between number 1 and number 2, number 1 is just stopping at 0.5, that's it. But for number 2, you will see that the 3 is repeatedly itself 0.33333. Now, the one that is repeating is what we call as recurring decimals, okay? So this is what we call as recurring decimals. So in IG, it's very important you know which one is recurring decimal, okay? It's very important, you need to know that. Now, let's go through the third one, which is 7 over 11, right? So key in your calculator. Now, copy the number. I'm going to write 0.636363, alright? It's repeating itself non-stop. Now, if you notice the number 6360 is repeating, then this is what we call recurring decimal again, alright? So this is recurring decimal. Alright, let's go through the next example. Try with the calculator, 7 over 8. Now, you should be looking at 0.875. Now, the key here is it is not fully repeatedly itself. It's terminating at 0.875. So you know this is not recurring decimal, right? Now, let's try the last example. 4 divided by 13. I'm going to write all of the numbers now. So 0.307692307. First thing first, it's fill up the whole of your calculator screen, so that is probably recurring decimal. Now let's look for any repeated number. So I'm gonna underline 307692. Alright, now did you see that after 2307 repeat itself? So this is the part where it actually repeat again, 307, and then the calculator screen, they cannot show you 692. That's it. So this is what we call recurring decimal again. Alright, so this is recurring decimals. Alright, so I think that's all for today, and I hope you learned something. Alright, thank you so much. Bye.